My name is Toyin Oyekanmi. I'm a Nigerian and CEO and founder of Jollof Cafe Group. You're welcome to Gold. Life is golden. Thank you for that question. Like I said before, my name is Toyin Olamilere Oyekanmi. I'm from Osun State, Nigeria. To be precise, I'm from a community called Ifewara. And I'm always proud to say that I'm from the same place with Pastor Adeboye, one of my, spiritual father. Um, Unfortunately, I did not come from a wealthy family. As a matter of fact, I lost my parents when I was 6 years old. My mother died of an untimely death when I was going to be six. And the sad reality about that is the day my mother was going to die, she used to stay in a room where they would put some sort of herbs in a fire, and then when the fire goes up, she gets well, because I think she had maybe a kidney problem then. And this fateful day, none of my siblings were around, and I went to the bush, thick forest, to get these herbs, and I put it in the fire. And because I know that when they do that, something that she gets better. And when I came back as a 5-year-old child, she asked me to come sleep on her body. And I was tired and she was weak. And all I could remember was that she placed her hand on my head and she was praying, and I slept off. And when I woke up, she was dead. And that was the last memory I had with my mother. And I was quite young, but the memory never leaves. It sticks like it happened yesterday. And I remember when my siblings came back from, where they went, and they saw my mother dead, they were all broken. But that was how I lost my parent, my mother, at a very tender age. Well, I'm from the family of 6. I'm the last son. I have a kid sister and 4 elder ones. And afterwards, my uncle had to take me to Lagos from Elisha then. And then I started primary 1. After a while, I got the news that my father could not get over my mother's death, and my father just passed on as a result of that. So I could technically tell you that at age 6, I had no mother, no father, and all I had was my siblings and God. And I told myself, I remember very vividly at that young age, that the only option I have to make my mother proud or my parent proud was to be the best version of myself. And there, voila, I started primary 1 in Lagos. And after spending a couple of years in Lagos, things weren't going the way it should be, because, when you don't have your parents, it's always a different ball game. And subsequently, one of my siblings took me from Lagos and enrolled me in Ijebu-Igbo Molusi College in Ijebu-Igbo. And through the help of one of the famous musicians, is an Akbala musician, and I got enrolled. And subsequently, my sister got married to Major General Kundai Okpale, the former governor of Ondo State. And he was a military man, and he saw me, engaged with me, and he decided to pull me out of Molusi College and take me to Nigerian Navy Secondary School, Ibarabekuta. And there I started. I repeated a class because I was already in GS3 in Molusi College. So when they took me to the military school, I had to start from GSS2. And yes, that was where I finished my secondary education. Afterwards, the man said he saw a huge potential in me, and he felt that it was imperative that I'm mentored appropriately. My result had not even come out. My NECO or WAEC result had not even come out when he took me to Abuja. He also stays in Abuja because he's also a politician and a military man. And subsequently, I got started with Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. In fact, I was one of the first staff in EFCC when EFCC was founded in 1993, in 2003 rather. I was working with the commission secretary then, and eventually worked with the chairman, who was then the chairman, Nuru Ribado. And that was where I caught my teeth, my administrative teeth of how to run an organization, how to, you know, administer responsibility and coordination, because I was in EFCC for 5 years. But while I was in EFCC, I enrolled in University of Abuja distance learning. I was studying and I was schooling, but I knew something was missing, because a part of me liked to be very engaged in whatever I'm doing, and I don't like to. I like to be focused on what it is that I find myself doing at the time, because that's the only way I feel I can excel. The power of concentration is very important to me. And later, I resigned from EFCC, and in fact, the day I was going to go for my promotional exam was the day the what's called this JAM exam was taking place. So I had the option of either going to write JAM or to go for my promotional exam. And at that time, I went for the JAM and I missed my promotional exam. So when they called me, I said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm writing JAM, unfortunately." They said, "You want to leave your job?" I said, "Yes, because I feel there's a lot more in me that I want to explore." And the economics I was doing in University of Abuja as a part-time, distance learning wasn't really doing it well for me. I wanted to focus. So that was how I put out of EFCC, and I went to school to study media and art. So I dropped out of my degree, the economics degree, and I resigned from EFCC, and I went back to university to start from the beginning again. It was quite a thing, because everybody thought, maybe, what is this guy doing? But I kept telling them that, you know what, anything doing is worth doing well. If you believe in yourself that this is really what you want to do, and you believe in the power of community and the power of concentration, and you believe with that, you get better results, why not go for it? And that was what I did. And you can't achieve anything that you believe in without a bit of sacrifice. So I had to sacrifice a lot to pursue the dreams that I wanted, to achieve. And one of the things that also helped me while I joined was that I became a politician on campus. So I started learning how to handle people. I tell people that management skill, you must learn how to manage money, time, and human resource. So I joined politics from 100 level, and I rose to the pinnacle of politics in University of Abuja, becoming the president while in school. And afterwards, after my school days in University of Abuja, with all the achievements, the accolades, and that I received while in University of Abuja as an outstanding student, outstanding president, I came out with a 2-1 at that time. I then decided to go to Lagos. But something very important happened in my journey to how my life eventually panned out. Interestingly, I have many turning points in life. Like I said, growing up as an orphan, I was at the mercy of my community, and I was at the mercy of people's goodwill. And it is very important to mention that, because there are good people out there, people who would look at you and who would see every reason to just impact your life. And that is extremely very important. And one major turning point for me, career-wise, would be when there was a protest in Nigeria. And during this protest, that was when BBM used to be very famous. So we used to have BBM groups and all that. Ali Baba, one of the famous comedians, was having a comedy show in Abuja. I used to know Ali Baba's PA, Eze, in Abuja. But Ali Baba had another PA in Lagos. So Ali Baba now partnered with Night of 1,000 Laughs to do a show in Abuja. Eze called me and said, "There is this Ali Baba PA in Lagos that needs a laptop. And I know you come to the theater with laptop. Is it possible you loan this guy your laptop to do his show?" It was unknown. Nobody knows him. I said, "Okay, why not? What are we friends, what I call, are we colleagues for? This unknown artist, I decided to give him my laptop. He did a show. That was his first show as a comedian. Abuja, Night of a Thousand Laugh. 2 days later, he returned my laptop to me. And that was it. But I remember he told me his name when I went to pick up my laptop. When the protest was going on in Nigeria, the Ojota protest and all that, there was a group that was added to an BBM. I now saw maybe a year later after that incident, that was when the group was created. And that was around the time I finished my university. I wanted to go to Lagos to go and pursue greener pastures. So when they added me to that group, I now saw a guy's name on that group. I didn't know it was him. I just know he mentioned something to me. And I've heard that he's been doing a bit of, activations in Lagos. I saw AY. And I was like, could this be the AY that I helped? And I decided to say, okay, let me boss this guy if he's the real AY. Immediately I said, hi, are you AY that did your first show in Abuja? He said, yes, I'm AY comedian. Is this Toyin that gave me his laptop? And that was it. The guy said, yes, bros, I'm Toyin, your AY. Please, I want to come to Lagos and pursue a career in art. Remember, I studied media and art. He said, come. Just find your way to Lagos. On getting to Lagos, I went straight to his house in Lekki. He had started his career, AY show, and he's doing well. And that was how he made me his personal assistant when I got to Lagos. From there, he gave me the opportunity to start hosting AY show. He gave me the opportunity to create content for AY, even AY comedy shows and all that. He would teach me how to administer content and how to administer people, administration of, show management and all that. And that was how I got into the Nigerian entertainment industry. And from there, I met Funke Akinele, who is my very paddy now. I met Kunle Afolayan, who eventually took me around the entire Southwest because he got a job with MultiChoice, Ishadale Yoruba. And voila, that was how my sojourn in the entertainment industry, movie, comedy, music started. And that gave birth to my first company, 10 Productions Limited. And that was a major turning point in my career. While I was doing my entertainment, I was opportune to get a job with the Bank of Industry, one of the leading financial institutions in Nigeria, to contribute to the content department, that's the corporate communications department. While I was doing my thing in the creative industry, something very major happened. I was with my personal assistant and we got a show in Abuja to come and do a media project. So I packed my load in Lagos. I just bought cameras and all that equipment, and we decided to take a night bus through Chisco. I gave all my equipment to my PA then, who was assisting me. And voila, when we got to Abuja the next day, my PA forgot the equipment inside the Chisco I called him and I was like, where's the equipment? And he said, bros, the equipment should be with you because I'm not with the equipment. I said, I can't remember me managing the equipment. In fact, anytime we're going for projects. And I remember handing over this equipment to you in Lagos when we're leaving Jibo. So where's my equipment? And that was how we misplaced all that we worked for in Lagos. And I couldn't do anything. I was perplexed. Because you know what it is with equipment, saving up to do a lot of jobs to save up and start your production company, and the tools gone. I now decided, okay, you know what, let me get a job. Now I'm in Abuja. Let me just get a job, see if I can mop up small cash. Even if I'm going back to Lagos, I can still get small equipment. And then I now started working with a company called African Leadership Magazine. It's a very phenomenal public relations company. I learned a lot. I was there for 3 months. But while I was there, based on the relationship I built, a bank called me to join them, which is the Bank of Industry. So from African Leadership Magazine, I joined Bank of Industry. And I was doing well in bank of industry because I was traveling everywhere, recording. We used to have a program called BOI Impact on NTA. We have another program on channels. So we would go around, interview a lot of entrepreneurs who were doing well. So that was where I started, my introduction to entrepreneurship really started, because working with Bank of Industry, they provide loans to capital to businesses. And I will go from this place, Innocent Motors, I will interview, will tell me a story. I will go to another medium entrepreneur, will tell me so. And I was really inspired. How are people able to start from nothing? And then they're able to build this. And I will look at this factory and I'm like, what? I did more than 100 shows for the Bank of Industry in terms of going to film. And that was the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey, because it opened me up to a lot of phenomenal stories. A few years into my work in Bank of Industry, one day my son was supposed to start school. So I told my wife to take my child for checkup in St. Nicholas in Lagos, because I was back to Lagos then. And because it was running temperature. So on getting to St. Nicholas, I just realized that they were there the whole day. And I called later that, why are you guys staying there? He said, the doctor said we should wait. Wait for what? From morning to evening. Later at night, around 7, the doctor called me and said they would like to see me at St. Nicholas. I should come through. So I left my work, because I was also working in Marina, and the hospital is also in Marina. So I drove to the hospital and said, what is going on? Why are you keeping my family? They now said they saw something abnormal in my son's blood, and it's looking like a leukemia. Leukemia? Where did that come from? How will a child of 2 plus going to 3 break down with leukemia? And that became a devastating story. In fact, that was one of the most tragic moments of my life, because that was my only child. And myself and my wife, we had been trying to have more kids, because unfortunately my wife is the only child of our parents. The psychology of, what if we don't have another one because and we're trying and it wasn't coming. This boy was turning 3 and leukemia. I felt like my world was, nothing meant anything to me again. That night, we went to Luth in Lagos, in Yaba. The stories I was seeing in Luth was nothing to write home about. I decided to reach out to my company, my bank, telling them this is the situation. I'm in a big mess. My only child is down with cancer of the blood, leukemia. How can you help? My insurance company in Nigeria said they can't help with such an ailment. Thankfully, that was when one of our new managing directors was resuming, Pastor Olukayode Peter, who is the pastor in Tabernacle of David, Redeemed Christian Church of God. I reached out to the wife. 2 weeks later, we found ourselves in South Africa at Mediclinic in Parktown. And we started treating this child. Sometimes seems like it was going into remission. And for 2 years, I remember June 24th, 2019, that was when he gave up the ghost in the morning. But something very profound happened before he gave up the ghost, because I remember a night before, my wife and I just went into deep, intense prayer, and we held this boy, praying for this boy. And that was around 12. And he would call, "Mommy, I want to drink water." Around 5, I remember, he couldn't talk. My wife, we're sleeping because we rarely sleep, always praying just to make sure he's okay. Around 5, my wife did not hear the boys. The boy called her and she was like, what's wrong with Joey? On getting to Joey's bed, Joey could not even talk again. We rushed Joey from that bed to Joburg Gen, and before we could even park the car, I thought my son gave up the ghost, and that broke us down. That broke us down really, really, really hard, and that was how we lost our only child. And we now we're in South Africa. What do we do? Um, yeah, no more child. We had spent millions of rands, all that we had. In fact, my house in Lagos, I gave it out. I gave my cars, everything. I gave up everything just to make sure this child is able to get the best treatment here. Even when people advise us to go to government hospital, we said, no, we only go to Netcare or Mediclinic because we thought we could get the best professors to help. And the bank also helped me through the entire process of funding. But that was how I found myself in South Africa, and was quite a tragic one. Knowing how I have been helped at every junction in my life to where I find myself, even my journey into entrepreneurship in South Africa was as a result of someone just helping me out with the knowledge of this industry. And that for me is a defining moment, because if you are a beneficiary of people's benevolence, what excuse do you have as a human being not to be good to other people? There is no excuse. And one of the key things I am doing as a person is that when I got to this country, after my incident, I realized the rate of unemployment was alarming, especially for the immigrant community, even the South African community. And I told myself, what can you do to help families? And I started this business, but not just starting this business to make money. It is starting this business to be able to provide for families. If I have over 30 staffs in Jollof Cafe right now, that is about 90 people benefiting from what it is that we're doing. And that, for me, I feel, looking at the context of this environment, is extremely very critical. And that is one of the things that always propels me to open more branches where I feel there are opportunities, so that we can take so many people off the street. That's one. And I'm a Christian, and there is nothing I can do without my faith. I always, in fact, before I started this business, the only car my wife and I had, we took it to the church. We committed it to the evangelism department so that they could have resources to, to preach the gospel and all that. And that is another critical part of my life, because I know the church is a very important aspect of my life. And we always, at every turn, do all we can to give sacrificially to the church, not so that we can enrich a pastor or enrich the building, so that people who are benefiting from the welfare system can be, resources can be made available to them. So we do that a lot, and we thank God. God has been helping us to lift more people via that means. Interestingly, I wouldn't say we have any NGO right now, because interestingly, I'll tell you that Jollof Cafe as a business started last year, January. So Jollof Cafe is about 18 months old, but in the space of 18 months, this is the 5th branch that we're building. So we have invested all that we had in the business branch expansion, creating opportunities, work. Like this place now, we're hoping to get about 10 to 15 people off this environment and put here for work and all that. So that has been our focus. But notwithstanding, we believe that our son needs to be immortalized. And part of how we want to do that is supporting children with cancer. There's an association that we always give to. It's called Chalk House. Childhood with living with cancer is based in Saxon World. That was where we were also part of that house when we initially got to South Africa. So we, from time to time, give to people, especially kids living with cancer, because we've been part of that journey and we know how traumatized parents of kids like that could be and all that. We would send food to them, send all that we have to those, families. And that has been one way of us supporting the communities and things that are really important to us. Success, looking at my story, has been purely based on impact, because the people that gave me opportunity at every turn in my life. They did that because they believe that impacting my life is going to contribute to their own success as a human being. So today they will look at me, they will be like, oh, I'm a success because that is a product of my benevolence. So for me, where I sit right now, success has nothing to do with materialism. It has everything to do with impacting people's lives, touching people's lives, especially through education and health. Education and health, because all I was giving was education and good health, health, basic medical and all that means. So I'm extremely very, pertinent in classifying success within the context of impacting lives, giving back to the community, helping people to find livelihood. I find joy in seeing people being able to take home money at the end of the month home, because I know how tough it could be. A lady walks with me, walked to me one day. He said, I have got 2 kids, and as I speak to you right now, my kids don't even have what to eat. My husband is struggling. Things used to be very well for us, but for now, there seem to be a turnaround in our situation. We left Victoria to South Africa, and when we finished talking, I decided to offer her a job, and she's been working with me for 3 months now. The husband this Sunday find his way to my church, and he came to me and said, thank you, because what you did by giving my wife a job at that particular time sustained. It might not change our life, but there was some sort of sustainability in our lives, because she could eat, she could take home something to her kids, she could get, pay to support the kids to school. And for them, that is extremely very important. And for me, that is my own definition of success. I would say that is a function of how well you can seize opportunity. See, life, what separates all of us is a function of how you can discern opportunity, that there's an opportunity here. And you as a human being, your humanity is extremely very important. There are times in your life that God will test your character. If a stranger had called me in Abuja, say somebody needed help, and I was not willing to give that help. Do you know that when I needed to transit from Abuja to Lagos in terms of my career, that help might not have presented itself? When I started this business, a friend called me and said, my business is struggling and I will need skill and capital. I invested about 10% worth of the business, which was Kitchen Vibes. I bought Kitchen Vibes and I gave him the money. Within the time I was with him, as you know, I was able to impute my skill and to learn. So what am I saying is that, yes, you become successful. We all have grace. Grace is available for all if you're willing to tap into it. But ability to discern what is opportunity and what is not an opportunity, it's critical. Secondly, your humanity will decide whether or not certain things will be attracted. You will attract certain things to your life. If you are not a good person, I'm sorry, my faith always creeps into some of my conversation, but if you are not a good person, certain things will not come to you. One of the things I love about this book, The Secret by Rodan, it's called A Law of Secret. That's a law of attraction. What are you attracting? What energy are you attracting into your life? It's extremely very critical, because when you attract the right energy, when you have the right energy and your attraction is perfect, what you're attracting is positive, God will give you the spirit to discern opportunity. And when it comes, you will know that there's an opportunity here. And the grace to activate that opportunity will also be made available. So I would say, from where I sit and from what has worked for me, I have made my life available for people when the need arises. And I've always been very open to learning from people and taking the right opportunity when I see it and when it presents itself. And that has been, besides grace and favor of God, which we all have, which is available for all. But as human being, God will not do what He has given us, given us the ability to do. So these are very fundamental in you know, in this word that says many are called, few are chosen. You must have those, abilities for you to be chosen, to be the chosen one. It is very important for us as a people to work on our mind. One of my best books is called Silver Ultramind Method System, where you are able to shape reality with your mind. You can bend reality to work for you. You can attract what you want in your life. So for me, very importantly, whether you're on your way to the top or you've had some sort of misfortune along the way and then you're trying to reboot, it is important for you to keep your mind sane. It is important for you to work on your mind, because if you are able to have the right mindset, which is where everything starts from, this is just a body. It pains me when people say Black people can't do this. It only says that Black people are not thinking. And for me, very importantly, is your ability as a human being to make sure that you're attracting the right information into your spirit, into your mind. You are solving problem from within first before application. So whatever it is you're going through as a human being, whatever it is you are, wherever you are as a person, on your way to the top, coming down, or just going up, please guard your mind. Guard your mind so jealously. Read the right books. The right books will give you perspective. The right books will give you perspective. Listen to the right speakers. Look for mentors. You cannot do everything on your own. It's only a foolish man that wants to walk the path and learn from his own experience. What education does is to avail you with information so that you learn from people's mistakes. All you need to do is to go to the last chapter of their life and learn from that. And that is the power of knowledge. Books. And mentors are also there. Look for somebody in your environment who is doing what you think you want to do. They might be selling food and you want to do science, but the method is the same. Look for such mentors who are able to teach you those basic principles of success, basic principles of execution, and then learn from them. Be submissive enough, regardless of your position, to look for a mentor, learn from the mentor. And above all, people are very important in defining who you eventually become. Be a good human being to people. Respect people regardless of who they are. A man, a woman, a cripple, a pagan, a Christian. Respects humanity. If you can respect people, you can seek mentorship, you can invest in knowledge. Trust me, it is almost inevitable for you to find your breakthrough within this variables that I've mentioned. One of the things that have defined me as a human being, and which I'm going to speak from my experience and what I'm doing, is the power of connectedness, interconnectivity, ability to connect with people that you don't even know. And I see that as an opportunity. One of the reasons why America is so great, or become greater than the United Kingdom eventually, is the ability to reach the world. The world is becoming a global village, and only if you can see an opportunity therein. That is one phenomenon that I believe is going to shape the next century. People are going to, the world becomes smaller, relationship will become tighter, and technology will power that process. So technology is one thing that I would say I'm super excited where it is going. The artificial intelligence, the nanotechnology, ability to. I came to South Africa. I don't know people, but I was able to start my business by just leveraging on existing technology to market my business and to convert sales. I've used the social media to the best of my ability. I've used the infrastructure available. I have my own app. I have my own website. I'm partners with Uber, Mr. D, with Bolt, with Josie Cloud Kitchen. I constantly leverage on technology. And what that has done for me is that it has helped me to maximize sales from my marketing initiative. That can only be done by the power of technology. So technology, internet, I think it is for me, and I'm truly excited about the opportunity that it presents. I'm an African through Toro. One of my favorite mentor is Nelson Mandela. He said in a quote, he said, if you want to change the world, change education. And what that means is that whether it's European, American, whoever, we must change the way we see each other. Because it's very painful as a businessman, even when you're putting the best that you can, and you walk to a place like this and somebody looks at you with a very condescending, look, like, what are you doing here? You don't belong here. You're not supposed to be having this. In fact, perhaps whatever you're doing to achieve this, that level of it's extremely very condescending. I'd wish that we change what we are teaching Black, white people so that it informs a different perspective of how we see ourselves. We are all human beings. We all should respect ourselves. We all should allow the world. We all should don't judge. There shouldn't be prejudice. These are some of the things I have seen that I'd wish, few changes could be effected here and there. But I believe everything is premised on the education that you have. And lastly, I would also say that Mandela said, if Africa is going to take its rightful place in the community of nations, he said Nigeria and South Africa must lead the way. It is important for us to re-examine our place in the community of nations as Africans. I wish and I pray that God gives me, an opportunity to lead a different narrative of what, African should look like, or what our contribution should be to the community of nations. So I will want the rest of the world to change the education they have in terms of how they see us Africans. And I will also want Africans to change their perspective of being the country that should consume or should always wait for, the remnants. No, we should compete. We should compete. And competitive comes from the place of, we must be a bit more democratic in our organization. We must be more capitalist oriented. We must be more progressive in our thinking. So these are a few things that I want to see. I want to see Africa that is rising, Africa that is competing, Africa whose voice is heard in the community of nations. Not Africa that when decisions are made, then we would see what can be done as, what that's it. You see, I'm going to be very practical with my brothers. And I'm not going to preach what I don't think are very important. From the School of Business, I've used 4 basic principles to guide my way to the top. And it is One, product. Whoever you are, whatever you want to do, look for the right product. It is a major key to success. Look for the right product. And a product is not a product if it is not demanded by a group of people. Look for the right product, my brothers and sisters. Research. Look for the right product. If it is media, look for that product. If it is food, look for that product. If it is whatever you want to do, I'm going to advise you to please go back to your research table and start diving into what product can I bring to the marketplace. If you're able to get that product, trust me, the sky is not even the limit for you. Secondly, I would say that you must be ambitious enough to take your product to the market. Ambition is key, which is, yes, I have this product. Don't procrastinate. One of my favorite book is the Richest Men of Babylon. There are thinkers and there are wishers. There are people that just keep wishing. And the people that define the next generation are the doers. Look for that. Be ambitious. Take that product that you believe in. There are so many food. I just researched about jollof rice. See, but there's something about this jollof rice that I don't know what it is. But I know that when people eat it in the party, I've watched video of people go to parties and they are fighting over jollof rice. And I'm, what it is about this jollof rice? And I started researching into the psychology of jollof rice in the minds of the Black people, especially West Africans. And immediately I caught that revelation. I said, not chicken, I think jollof rice. It's unite people. People go for it. There are some people who wear gele, buy ashwebi just to go and eat jollof rice. I said there must be something powerful about that. Food, not Nigerian food, not just jollof. And that's the product I'm selling. That's why we have Jollof Cafe. But I then become ambitious enough, courageous enough to take it to the market by planting it in places that I know will attract Nigerians, non-Nigerians, and even foreigners. And my third advice is when you have the product and you are able to place your product in the right market, price appropriately. Do not undermine yourself. Entrepreneurs, do not undermine yourself. Do not undermine yourself. Believe in yourself, because that is going to come from the place of research. When you price your products appropriately, the people that will buy from you, that believe in your product, will come for you. You cannot sell to everybody. No. If there are 7 billion people in the world, all I need to keep my business running in a month is to sell to less than 1,000 people in Joburg. And there are 55 million people in Joburg. And I have 5 branches. If I'm able to sell to 1,000 people, I'll break even and pay my bills and everything will be fine. So imagine I price myself so badly or so low or so high, and then I'm not able to cater for the need of this 1,000 target market that I'm looking for, then I will be missing the point. So price appropriately. And lastly, my advice to young entrepreneurs and young people is when you have the right product, you're ambitious enough to place it in the market. Even when you come to the mall, they said, no, keep knocking. Nobody wants Nigerians in some of the malls. I keep knocking. I keep presenting my proposals. I keep telling you, no, I want to sit next to Nando's. Whatever Nando is doing, I can do it. I was bold enough. I was courageous enough. I prize myself because I understand the market I want to operate in. And lastly, if you are a businessman and an entrepreneur, and somebody said, when you are selling a product, it's like there's a dark room. You're winking in the dark. Nobody sees you. Young people, take advantage of social media. It's a cheap medium of advertisement. When you are selling and you are not advertising, you're winking in the dark. Coca-Cola is still selling, still marketing. Promote. Look for collaboration. One of the defining moments of my business was when a man called AKA came into Jollof Cafe, loved what we were doing, decided to help Jollof Cafe. And today, practically everybody that knows about Jollof Cafe heard about Jollof Cafe from AKA. I kept shouting because I don't want to wink in the dark. So, young entrepreneurs, please and please take advantage of the social media. Promote your business. Look for collaboration. Don't alienate yourself. Trust me, from where I sit, because I want you to be successful, if you can apply these 4 basic principles, is almost impossible for you not to succeed. The name gold means everything. There was a time that the world currency was based on gold. That's to show you the power of gold. And for me, that symbolizes value. And so what you're doing is in itself value. Identifying people that can inspire, people that can motivate, and then projecting them. That is what Africa needs. That is what the African child needs. There are no heroes in Africa any longer. There are no role models in Africa any longer. Everybody's looking for a hero. Everybody's looking for a role model. Everybody's looking for somebody to inspire them. And that is a major value you're bringing to the market. That is a major product. Because when you inspire that African child, he sees that if that man can do it, I can do it. When you motivate that child, he sees you as a mentor. He's able to either look for you directly or in fact, one of my biggest mentors, we don't know each other. His name is Toyin Elumelu. I'm Yoruba. Toyin Elumelu is from Delta. I'm constantly watching Toyin, how he executes, how he transforms UBA to becoming one of the best brands in Africa right now. So it is what you're doing. You are creating an opportunity for people to find mentors who they naturally might not even have opportunity to meet. So gold, I wish gold all the best. I want gold to continue to do what you're doing. Keep motivating that child. Keep telling that stories. Keep looking for heroes. Keep looking for mentors, because we need those in Africa. Besides so many books and songs that I could recommend, but I personally, as a filmmaker, I created a film called Visibility Zero. I said, if your vision is not right, you won't see. You can have eyes, but you're not seeing opportunity. So this Visibility Zero talks about you changing your worldview, changing your narrative. Simple story. I am blind, help me. This woman on the road writes on her placard. And it's a child, a boy who is a creative genius, but who doesn't know how to find his purpose, became friends with a blind woman. And one day decided to change that write-up to, instead of I am blind, help me, it says, it's a new day, yet I can't say it, but you can. Why don't you spare a moment and tell me about it? Somebody saw that and was like, wow. And that was how the woman's life transformed. And the woman told the guy that, if you could transform my life with those words that changed everything for me, why can't you use the power of your creativity to change your own story as well? And that was how this random boy who was looking for a job everywhere decided to set up a creative organization where he writes copies for advertising agency. And voila, his life changed, because his words, his copies are so powerful that when agencies say it, they say, you know what, we're going for this copy. So for me, the power of creativity, the power of the mind, look for that thing that you're exceptionally great at and exploit it to your advantage. Yes, my people. My name is Toyin Oyekanmi, the CEO and founder Jollof Cafe. Keep watching Gold. This is the home of value. My name is Toyin Oyekanmi, the CEO and founder of Jollof Cafe. Catch me on Gold this week and don't miss that show for nothing. See you. My people, go for gold always, all the time. Life is golden. My name is Toyin Oyekanmi. I'm a Nigerian and CEO and founder of Jollof Cafe Group. You're welcome to Gold. Life is golden.